Hello, Tacoma Park Middle School. It's me, Gary. Wanted to try to make this video to kind of walk you through what the schedule is going to be for our May 9th, 10th, 17th, 18th, and 19th testing schedules. I know everyone has been asking, and I will apologize up front for how long this has taken. And to be honest, there's still some tinkering that's going to happen between this video and May 9th. And you are a big part of that in giving us feedback. But I did want to get this out to you, and I thought rather than just put it in an email or send it, talk you through the documents. So hopefully that will front load things, so there won't be as many questions. It'll be a little clearer. But after this video, if you've watched it and you've looked things over and you still have questions, by all means, please email me or stop me in the hallway or bunk me on the head and let me know what you need to know. So without any more further ado, let me get started with this whole thing. Now, first of all, I do want to say a little more ado that please assume good intentions in this thing. We wanted to make a testing schedule that was appropriate and a good environment for students to test in so that they could do well in their tests. We wanted to reduce the amount of interruptions from teaching and learning, so we're not trying to teach and do tests at the same time and have a testing schedule that lasts for weeks and weeks. And we also want it to be equitable, that everybody is working the same amount and gets breaks and it feels somewhat equitable. So that's our goal in how we did this. And if you're not seeing that, or your role is somehow messed up, that's probably unintentional. It's either we didn't have a choice, we're doing the best we can, but more likely if it's really bad, it's because we messed up and we didn't get that. And so we would want to know about that and correct it. So don't assume that if you are having some ridiculous schedule that we did that on purpose to you. We didn't. Our goals, intentions was to make it fair for everybody and make something that would really work for everyone involved. So that's the goal, and we will, if we're not there, if we've missed that mark and there's ability to fix it, we want to fix it. This is an all hands on deck experience when we get to these testing on these testing days. It's not just something that we're giving you the job and you're going to walk through. It's really something that you're going to play a big part in making it work. It's going to work well because we're all going to be part of making it work. Thank yous to all the folks who have been helping me along the way and working together with this. This is a big deal. The results of these MCAP tests affect our school. We lost a few rating points over the COVID years because of some drop in our MCAP scores. We'd love to see those go back up. We really want to see great test results. We want to see a good experience for all students, and that involves not only the testing, but also what happens between tests, where students get a chance to reboot, relax, focus, and then come back to testing. So whether you are a test administrator, which you will learn that your role is either going to be a test administrator or a wellness support teacher, whether you're a test administrator, in which you're primarily doing testing, but also will be doing some wellness with your kids as well, or you're a wellness support teacher, which means you are planning wellness activities for the students when they're not testing. Whatever it is, we really need you to come up with ideas, to make this thing part of it, to do some cool things to make this thing really work. So we need your involvement and input. So you're part of this. So please, as you're looking over this plan and the schedule and you're looking at your role, think about what you can do to make it a real success for the kids. There are some people who are not listed on the schedule, some part-time people, some paras. There's some others who are not listed there. You will still play an important role. Even though you're not on the schedule, you will be assisting wellness breaks. You will be doing Chromebook support. You will be supporting those teachers, especially those teachers who do extended time sessions, who will have a lot more time and a lot fewer time off. They will need additional breaks and they will need support. So your job is to do that. So if you're not listed there, you are still heavily involved. All right, let's get to it. How do you find the actual schedule? The schedule is on the Tacoma Park staff handbook. If you have lost that link, and you can type it, it's written right there. Hopefully everyone has it bookmarked somewhere. Go to the Tacoma Park Middle School staff handbook, scroll down to where it says schedules, and you will see links for the math, the ELA and math schedules right there. So that is how you find the testing schedules. And as we make changes to the schedule, we're making changes to the document that these schedules are linked to. So you will, as we make changes, they'll be right there. So you'll always be able to find the current version just by clicking on those links. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. All right, let's jump into the first of the schedules, which is the ELA schedule. That is 9th and 10th. So if we click on this, you will see Sorry about that. First of all, both the ELA and the math schedules start off with a large preamble of just explaining some key things. So I will go through that with you, but it's good for you to, how do we do this? There we go. That's what I want. So it's good for you to read that. And if you've forgotten things, this is a good reminder. So first of all, the ELA is on the 9th and the 10th. There are 4 ELA tests. They are 70 minutes each. They're long tests, although in our experience in previous years is that most kids don't need the full 70 minutes for it. But there's 4 ELA tests. They're 70 minutes each. That's 105 minutes for extended time. So test administrators are going to be giving those tests. Sections 1 and 2 will be on May 9th, and sections 3 and 4 will be on May 10th. The deal with the ELA test is that students cannot they can't, if you miss section 1 but you're there for section 2, you have to be doing section 2. Everyone has to do the same sections at the same time. If a student's absent on the 9th, but they're there in the 10th, they have to start on section 3. So I will manually skip students to get them into the proper section when they test. That's an important piece of it for me to do during the testing session so that everybody is always testing together. All right, everyone has a role. Generally, you're either a test administrator or you're a wellness support person. If you're a test administrator, your job is to pick up, return, and safe keep the secure materials, as well as administering and managing the test sessions. Unlike how we did the Maryland survey, we found that we wanted to actually go back to the old system. Everybody picks up their test materials in the testing office. So you'll see that many people's schedule is that they don't start their tests, or they have a break before the start of the test. So you'll be able to have a lot of time to pick up your test materials, but that will all be at the testing office. Your job is to pick up, return, and safe keep those secure materials during the entire testing time. You may even keep them as long as they're locked. You may return them on the second day, so you don't have to check them out the second day. You can keep them, but your job is to make sure that you're kept secure throughout those 2 days of testing, and then again on the math test. If you are now you also are going to have, as a test administrator, you will be testing, but you will also have one wellness period with your kids, and we'll talk about that in a minute as to what that wellness period is going to look like. You will also have a break when your students go to 2 additional wellness times. We ask that you walk your students quietly to those wellness periods, and then the wellness teachers will walk them back to you. That is so that it's quiet in the hallways and orderly, as there's different testing times for each grade level, and we want to make sure that everybody has a good testing environment. So there's no passing period craziness. Students are walked to their next test and walked to the wellness and then walked back to the test. If you're a wellness support teacher, your job is to receive those wellness groups and to walk them back to their test groups. There's some sample activities that you can do, but you're going to basically plan wellness activities for them. We want you to plan activities that fit your characteristics and what you like to do. So if you're a PE teacher, you can do PE. If you're in art, you can do art. Whatever you feel like doing, and we have some suggestions as well. So start thinking about something you can do with your groups. You really could just do the same activity for both days if it's appropriate, with all of your groups. So it's really just planning one activity for that you do. Generally, you have shorter amounts of time and larger planning time than test administrators. So we hope that compensates with the fact that you'll be doing additional planning as opposed to test administrators who are just, supervising for the most part. If you're not listed in the schedule, like we mentioned, you will be assigned duties to support. Ms. Davidson will be doing wellness support. If there isn't enough wellness support teachers, we will either schedule you to go to the media center or to meet with your counselors. And counselors, we will have to figure out a location for you to do that. So that's an upcoming task. Talk a little bit about wellness activities. If you're a test administrator or a wellness person, you're still going to be doing a wellness activity with your kids. And you need to plan that out. It's not free time. It's not roam the hallways time. It needs to be controlled and it needs to be safe and structured. But it also should be relaxed and refreshing. So it should be an opportunity for students to kind of debrief and check in and talk, maybe a community circle. If you would like to have food and make a little food time or do something quiet in the classroom, as long as you can have be a little bit of talking and some movement around, as long as it's structured and safe and controlled. Just can't get crazy where people are screaming and yelling and disturbing other classes. So if you wanted to have games for kids to play, you could do that. If you want to play a group game with your class, you could do that, or assemble little groups. If you want to have food, if you want to make it a community circle, there's lots of things you can do in that time. As a wellness leader or as a testing administrator with a wellness time, that's all those things are appropriate. You want to show video, that's okay too. So lots of things you can do during that wellness time. Start thinking about it now, what you like. Again, this is an all hands on deck activity, so we all need to support each other. If you're not scheduled for an activity and you have a planning time, do think about how you can help other people that are that do have maybe additional time. Like I say, we want this to be equitable for everybody. So if you find that you have more planning time than other teachers, the expectation is that you would be helping those teachers out. Let's take a quick look at the schedule then. So this is what it kind of looks like. You'll notice, first of all, that it's organized by grade level and really in cohorts. So each page is a single cohort of teachers that are all working on the same thing. So we have 6th grade teachers who are doing regular time schedules and the wellness support teachers for those teachers. It's all together. And then we'll scroll back in a second. And then extra time teachers, these are the teachers who have extra time groups and the wellness teachers who support those extra time groups. We have same for 7th grade, for 7th grade regular, 7th grade extra, 8th grade regular, 8th grade extra. And then here's the PE teachers and the groups that they will be accepting and working with at each scheduled time for 7th grade PE, 8th grade PE, 6th grade PE. And Mr. Baker, Mr. Gugarty are going to do some combined, they have large groups, so they're working together. We'll be doing PE through these periods as well, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, and 6th grade. Here's what we have currently for the media center and for the counselors. So all of that is in this schedule for you to take longer time after I'm done blabbing for you to look at that. All right, let's take a look at just kind of drill down to just a couple examples so you can see how to read this. So if you are a test administrator, you're responsible for everything that is not colored in your column. So for an example, Ms. Conley, who is teaching 27 students, you'll notice we did add an extra 6th grade session to try to lower the numbers a little bit. I wish we could have done more. There was a lot of asking for making the groups smaller, and this is the best we could do. So, but we did try to, we had one more test, 6th grade group. Ms. Conley's got 27 students. She starts off with her students with Mr. Herman. And we can decide how we want to do that, whether they want to start off with Mr. Herman in his class or whether he wants to come and receive them. Either way is fine. Then from 9:20 to 10:45, they'll do the first section of English in Ms. Conley's room. Ms. Conley oversees that. She has a wellness period because it's not colored. If it's not colored, test administrators, that means you're running it. So that's a wellness group in room 102. Then lunch, and then testing. Right back in after lunch, come back in and do testing from 12:05 to 1:40, which leaves from 1:45 to 3 o'clock, either wellness or PE. You'll see if it's a PE teacher, it's PE. If it's not a PE teacher, it's wellness. And you'll see it's different on the 9th and the 10th. Ms. Lever has these groups here. Nobody goes to the media center. Scroll down and we look at what the wellness teachers are doing. So you see that wellness teachers have those periods. You'll notice everybody gets 2 periods off. So Mr. Herman, and at the beginning of the day and the end of the day, Ms. Conley has basically planning time. And test support people also have planning time while they're testing. We'll look and notice that if you count the minutes, generally wellness support teachers have more planning time than test administrators. And again, that's so that they can do that planning that they need to do for those wellness activities, but also can support the test administrators. If we look at extra testing time, the times are a little bit different, but the same idea. So these are all of our test administrators who have testing schedules. Notice their groups are a little bit smaller because these are smaller groups for extended time testing. Some of them start with wellness, some of them start with testing. If it's blank, that means you do your own wellness. That's what I meant to say. Start with wellness. You do your own wellness. Then you go into testing. Then lunches are a little bit different, scattered a little bit different lunch times. Then you see, for example, Ms. James starts off with her group with Ms. Davis for wellness, then does testing, then they go to lunch, then they come back to her room. Ms. James does her own wellness, and then a testing time. And then off to wellness. And you'll see we have a few media center scheduled, so the teachers need to walk the students to the media center, so they have media center time. We will not have any lunch groups in the media center on testing schedules. We also will not have Wake Up Tacoma during these testing days. And then you can see how the wellness support staff looks. So that's basically the same for every single grade level. I think that should make it make sense. One question that I'm sure is going to come up is, if you have, like, for example, here where she has a wellness time followed by a testing time, can she start her test session early? Yes, you can. If everyone is done with your test session early, and you want to do your own wellness or do something with them or walk them to a wellness period, as long as you can communicate with the person that's receiving your group, that's fine too. So we want to allow that kind of flexibility in the schedule, as long as the students are getting their testing time and it's a good, clean, controlled testing environment. And then you can get them safely and quietly to wellness or do a wellness in your room. All those things are going to be fine. All right, that's how it looks for English. You can pause and look that over and digest that and email me with questions that you have. Hopefully that's clear. And if we go to the math testing schedule, you'll see it looks exactly the same, except for one very important difference. And that difference is for the math test sections, all students must start sections at the same time. This is hard to put into words, so forgive me. It may take a minute to be able to communicate this well. But the way the math sections work is you cannot go on to a section 2 until you have finished section 1. You can't go on to section 3 until you have finished section 2. There's 4 sections, but they're shorter. They're 40 minutes each for regular time. They're 60 minutes each for extended time. So the students are going to do sections 1 and 2 in the morning, and then 3 and 4 in the afternoon. But they cannot go, so you'll have a scheduled time that you want to have your students. You're going to do 40 minutes to finish section 1, then you can take a little break, and then do 40 minutes to finish section 2, and you do both of that in your test schedule. So if I look at the test schedule, we see this testing time. You as a test administrator will say, all right, we're starting our 40-minute session. We're beginning at 9:05, we're finishing at 9:45. At 9:45, everybody stops testing. Take a little short break. All right, now we're beginning again section 2. Here we go, everyone do section 2 for 40 minutes, and now we stop. Except if a student didn't finish section 1 in that first time, then they have to stay with section 1 while everyone else is working on section 2. They got to keep working on section 1 until they finish, then they can start section 2. So you're not able to complete a section. That has to do with the nature of the math test. It is an adaptive test, and what questions students get depends on what they get right or what they get wrong. So they have to finish a section before they can go to the next section. No one can be moved through. And if they are still on section 1 at the end of that section 2 time, then in the afternoon when you're starting section 3, they're still working on section 1. And they cannot go until they go to section 2. They can't go with that until they finish it. But this is really important. One thing that math students cannot do is they cannot start a section early. So if a student finishes section 1 early, and you're in that first testing session, everyone's doing section 1, and you got a kid who finishes section 1 early, they cannot go to section 2. You may not give them the seal codes early to start the next section. They have to wait till the next time, until when you've scheduled that time, everyone finishes the 40 minutes, you take a break, you're ready to start section 2. Now everybody can begin section 2. They can't start it early. So you can finish the section late, but you can't start a section early. That's the nature of this testing. It's weird, but that's how it works. So they do section 1 and section 2 in the first morning, and then section 3 and section 4 in the afternoon. If they don't finish section 4, maybe they don't even get to section 4, that's it. So you're going to want, as a test administrator, to try to encourage them, move them along, make sure that they understand that they should be trying to move through, not spending too much time on one question. Try to get all of your kids through all 4 sections in those 4 40-minute periods that you're giving them. 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. And I hope that made some sense. If it didn't, please ask me, talk to me, email me. I'm happy to try to explain that again, or talk to your colleagues. Maybe it made sense to them. So that's the big difference. Everything else is the same though. And you'll see the times are essentially the same. The schedule is essentially the same. It's basically the same schedule as the first day of ELA, just with adjusted times. All right, friends. So that's how those things go. Then on this 18th and 19th, we're going to do MCAP social studies for the 8th graders. And the 6th and 7th graders will do ELA and then math, their MAP tests on those 2 days. And we'd like your input as far as how you'd like those schedules to go. We have a choice. You can either have it be where they test during the first block. We just take the entire first block and we just don't have a period 1 or a period 2 on the first day, and just use that first block for the testing. And then we have a regular schedule for the rest of the day. Just we don't see period 1 or period 2 those 2 days. That's a possibility. Keeps everything the same and even. Or we test for the first 100 minutes, and then we take a break, and then a planning period, and then we do a compacted schedule for the rest of the day, which would be to be announced. I'd like to hear your feedback on what you'd like us to do for those days. So you will see when I emailed this out, there's also a link to vote on 18th and 19th. So please click that link, and it looks like this, and just vote whether you want testing during the first block and a regular schedule for the rest of the day, or testing for the first 100 minutes and a compacted schedule the rest of the day, or if you have no preference. And majority will rule on this. Whatever most of us want to do, that's what we'll do, and I'll let you know. Last thing I want to say is just some appreciation in general for all of you, and for all the hard work you're going to do on this testing. But also, a while back, as part of my AP1, I asked for feedback on how I was doing as an assistant principal. You guys probably know that I did not seek this out, and it wasn't something I was planning to do. I was very happy just being a classroom teacher. But decided to try to take on that role, and have tried to do the best I can and surprise myself by wanting to stay in it. It has definitely been a stretch for me personally to do it, and on top of that, it was a bit of a stretch with the issues I was having with my father dying and then my mother getting really ill. So it has been a lot of work, but I'm really going to enjoy it and love it, and love the working I'm doing with the kids, and just being part of this whole enormous operation has been really a lot of fun for me. So I really do appreciate the feedback that I got from that survey, and kind words, but also some really harsh criticisms, which I really appreciated. Some of it was talked about maybe my grouchiness and harshness in the hallways, which I completely resonated with and understood. That was a symptom of the exhaustion I was feeling, and the pressures I was having outside of school, and how that was feeding into it. But I didn't really realize it was happening until I read about it, and that has helped me a lot. So I really appreciate that, and some of the other feedback I got, and how I could be able to listen a little better. Those things have really helped me too. So I really care about this job, and I want to do a good job, the best I can as an AP here at the school. And I really appreciate all of your support and words of encouragement, and also words of criticism have really been helpful too. So thank you all. I'm sure I will hear lots of criticism on the schedule, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. Please send it to me. Let me know how we can make this better, if there's ways to make it better. I really want to do a good job and really need all of you as part of it. So thank you all very much, and we'll be in touch soon. Bye.